You're listening to Anything But Competitive by Geeks First, the show that brings trading card games to life with the latest news, reviews, and table talk. Here's your host, Jacob.
So, greetings and welcome to this re-inauguration episode. I don't know what I want to call it. I have contemplated and spent a lot of time looking inward and also trying to be innovative, and I'm here to celebrate that with Alex. So, Alex, thank you for joining me on this journey as we partake down the road of interesting. So.
Of course. Yeah, I'm just, happy to be, as always, happy to be chatting fab. And my God, it has been a time. Super Slam has definitely taken a lot out of my brain, and now it's pre-release weekend for when we're recording this. So
yeah, it's upon us. I think our pre-release that I'll be going to is going to be this upcoming Wednesday. So the 20-something, I think, 23rd.
Yeah. Are they charging you $75 or some nonsense?
I want to talk about that because I am seeing so many people getting charged an absurd amount for this, and I do not comprehend how that's possible.
Right.
We're going to come back to that. So earmark that. For those of you that want to hear some interesting pros and cons, because the goal of things I'm going to continue to go forward with is going to be honest talking and making sure that I talk about topics that are important, but also still put my actual opinion on things.
Mm-hmm.
And with that said, Geeks First, which is the brand I guess I've had for a long time for the business side, I'm keeping that. So I'm not changing the channel name, but the Geek Speak episodes, I think I'm going to change the... yes, Beth? You need batteries? Batteries. Okay, on the kitchen table, there's a whole bunch of batteries that you can grab. They're AAA and AA. It's on the side next to the stove. Tech support. That's my job.
You got to know where it all is all the time, forever.
So essentially, while I still have Geeks First, the logos and stuff, I looked and said, man, I like Geek Speak, but I feel like that kind of has run its course because I didn't have a direction. And I think that was one of the tips that you had kind of maybe given myself, is that I need to look for a direction of things that maybe I should attempt to try to constrain within. And I threw around a bunch of ideas, and I think I finally landed on something that I'm pretty happy with, that I'm going to rebrand this podcast to, or this segment of the channel. So that's where I'm getting a little weird with this, because YouTube punishes you for doing like multiple things, but like I still want to do some like edited content. I haven't done very much of it recently, and by recently I mean within the last year, and I did that part on purpose because I needed to just detox my brain while I've been working in the background. But now that I've kind of given myself that kind of hiatus, I'm going to try and come back and do some stuff, but at my own pace. So with that, have I told you the new name that I thought I wanted to try to go with this yet?
You've gave me a couple things. I don't know what you stuck with though.
So the one that I'm going to, I guess, quote unquote, go with, which is probably backwards for you, is Anything But Competitive. And I really kind of got attached to trying to go with this specific logo. And it was just one of those things where I know I had that animation of the one, and I was like, maybe I can play with this a bit more. And this is where I landed with it. So the podcast shall henceforth be called Anything But Competitive, which is interesting for a myriad of reasons. And there we see Fabre in the background here with Mr. Flesh and Pod and Charmer, aka the other guy, aka there's a whole joke there. If you don't know, go watch their stuff. But, after looking at a lot of this, I'm not a marketing expert by any stretch, and nor am I big enough to really probably should care. But I feel like if I didn't narrow things down to make this like more specific, I was never going to get anywhere. So that's a long way of me saying that this is now kind of the beginning of keeping it within a certain time frame and trying to have a little bit more structured talking in regards to things. And yeah, it's going to be interesting. I still want to do my ranty long stuff, but I feel like that needs to be like once every other month or once every other 2 months, something like that, instead of, all the time. Because
I mean, so yeah, sometimes it's warranted to do stuff like, have a nice little ranty stream. It's honestly something I really enjoy doing, and I'm not sure if that's like up in the scale for what you want to do, but live streams are just so good for yapping, because you can just literally go live and go, okay, cool. Me and 3 buddies who happen to be in there, like, let's just talk about the meta. Let's just talk about or I guess obviously like not in a hyper competitive standpoint, but like, let's talk about like how we go about building decks. Let's talk about collecting. Let's talk about all this other stuff. And so it'll, it's a nice way to interact with your community as well. It's why I've recently, just due to the amount of work I've been doing, I've definitely not I've not gotten much edited content out as of the last couple of weeks. I pretty much had my spoiler video come out, and then it's just been like live streams for that point on.
So speaking of that, I wanted to say, one, congrats. I think I said that to you, offline, but again, seriously, that was I watched a lot of them. I didn't get to see all of them, but I did watch quite a bit of them. And I liked 2 really good ones. One was Flesh and Pod, which oh my God. I said, man, I was like, man, you keep using words. Like I messaged him. I never got right. I was nowhere close. So I didn't actually get anywhere close, but I was like, are you like doing something weird with like your thing? He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. So it's like, and then when they did that, I was like, I fucking knew it. Like I was like, I was figuring something out, but there was no way I would have ever been able to get it, because it's not like they said something in front to get it. But that spoiler was neat. I like the fact that they made it like a puzzle in that supercut they did. That was the chef's kiss. Yours, however, I enjoyed yours probably the most, and it was because it was like the missing diary pages. Like, and I think of, when I think of lore, like I forget what it's called, but there's like those narration type individuals that are really good. Like Dead Summer Art did this for a long time, where he would like narrate. Oh, did I lose the internets?
No, you're still here.
Oh, you're still there. Yes,
I'm still here.
But like Dead Summer Art would do some really cool stuff, and I was like, your video was like the same style, and I was like, that's awesome. I also saw you used a drone, and I was very happy about seeing a drone. Actually, it made me pull my drone back out, and I found out that my batteries are like puffed, so I have to.
Oh no, that's so bad. Yeah, no,
so this is what happens when you like they're pouch batteries, so like I can get about 5 minutes of use out of it. I got to go buy some new ones, but there's also a whole bunch of legalities. At least now there's a bunch of legalities with drones, so I got to figure all that out, because I don't want to get in trouble, because apparently they can do some pretty nasty crap to you if you're doing that.
Yeah, I mean, like you really have to be like really messing around with them, and specifically in like airspaces or federal government areas. Like, we literally went to the middle of
BFE,
like middle of literally out there in the middle of the woods. I literally looked at, so my roommate is the one who has all the equipment. He's got the camera and the drone and everything, and he loves doing like videography things. And so I went, well, I know what I want to do immediately after seeing the card. Let's go. Like, this is what I have set up. I've already gotten a script. I've written the whole thing down. Like, we don't need to do voice lines or anything. It's going to be a narration over the footage. So I just need B-roll. I need these specific scenario, like environments, and we're set. And he's like, okay, I think we can do that. And he knows Colorado far more than I do as far as like the spots to go to. And so, I mean, I think the craziest thing about that video is that we went to Guanella Pass. I don't know if anybody who knows where that is. We went to Guanella Pass for that, a lot of that like woodsy forest type setting, and it was just so crazy, because when we ended up walking upon that fire pit, like, that was not anything. Like, when I sat down next to that fire pit, that was not something that we set up. We didn't like have a fire there previously or whatever. It was already there. Somebody had already had a fire there, and they were just like, I was like, wow, there's no way that we don't just utilize this for the shot, right? And so we just, the whole directing and editing and like, it was awesome. I had so much fun. Doing it, and
remind
me
to send you my Jurassic Park short video that I did.
Oh, I'm getting that thing after the stream. It's the second this is over, you're sending that shit to me. I would love to see that.
That was one of my like, haha, I tried to do something interesting like short video, and even though it's only like 4 minutes of like whatever, it was every bit of like a month of editing to get that. It's ridiculous. I don't understand why editing is so complicated, but I have friends that they are that kind of OCD or whatever autistic, that they dive right into it enough where they are just like, they want to have that like perfectionism. And one of the guys I know, he's just like, I would say a savant at like animation, and it is wild what he can come up with. He's like, I'm like, can you make the thing, like, I was like, can you make the card come in and then like have another bottom of the card come up and then like flip the card around and rotate it and then sparkle out and like explode? And he was like, yeah, I can do that. I'm like, what? Like, oh, that'd be cool. Like,
I love that. I love when I'm just able to be like, hey, person with far more experience in this thing, I'm gonna vomit words out at you, and if you can make sense of any of that, throw a sketch together and let me know. And they're like, yeah, no, that's actually super simple. They're like, I've already got a template for this from like 10 years ago that I just never used.
And
I'm like,
that is what the power of it is. He leveraged templates that he was using for all these projects over time, and he's like, I did a little bit of this here, and I'll grab a little bit here, and that's I am. I'm also trying to learn. I don't know if you've switched to Resolve. I don't know if you've been playing with that, but I'm trying
I've been doing Resolve a whole bunch.
God, I'm forcing myself to learn Resolve because I am just tired of the Adobe ecosystem, and Adobe ecosystem is very expensive too, and it's like, ugh.
Yeah.
So
it's crazy expensive, and like, it's fine if you're like, you know, if you're doing this for a living, like, sure, right? I mean, if at the end of the day, that's fine. But like, if you want to utilize an editing software that has everything you need, and you're doing it as a hobby in which you're not being paid to do any of that of, like, yeah, it's okay to use Resolve, and Resolve is notably in some situations better than Adobe, even if you could. I mean, like, Fusion is so cool.
Yeah, I know several creators I follow use Resolve Studio exclusively, and then there are other creators that I've chatted with that use Vegas Pro. I don't know. There's
Vegas Pro.
One. But I'm not gonna try that. It's either Resolve or Premiere. I'm gonna pick one of them.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's enough of the fun.
I think it's Sony Vegas Pro. So
editing talk, because I'm sure that's not what everyone's here for. What I would love to discuss with you today, which is actually Flesh and Blood related, is the power of Super Slam, because we got there, and I'm gonna go micro mode in my head here. So hopefully we can see some of these. One of the craziest things to me is, now that I guess this is over with, right? The whole leaks and all that happened and all the weirdness that was there. Now we have the full set, so we can talk about anything. And that's where I was in this gray area for a while, where I was like, really wanted to talk about some things, but due to that was really hard to navigate what was officially out there, what was technically leaked. And I was trying to not ever cross that line. And I don't envy people that were trying to discuss cards, because like I was looking at like Fabry, and I was like, are we sure Fabry is actually correct? Or are we sure that, you know, even the Fab database that's on, you know, I'm assuming the Fab database would be correct, but I was concerned enough that I did.
Correct.
Yeah. Hey guys, we just leaked your cards.
Well, I mean, to be fair, that's also, I mean, not to derail a little bit here, but effectively, I know we had the whole discussion on Jarl. In which we had known that Jarl had existed. The set had been out already, and had been released to the public. But when you went to Fab TCG and you went to their card database, it did not show in the Mastery Pack Guardian set that you could pull Jarl, and so that was a whole thing. So technically, they could be incorrect, but the odds are pretty low, I'd imagine.
Yeah. Well, how do you want to skin this? Because there is a lot going on in this set, and I don't want to talk about everything because we'd be here forever. And I would say, I'm going to target about an hour, so that's another thing I'm going to try to start working toward, is kind of respecting people's time to get to about that hour and 15 time frame. What do you want to do a couple of, and I'm sorry, Logan, it sounds like I'm going to rip you off completely, but do you want to do like a top couple of like cards that you enjoy or things that surprised you? Because I mean, I was surprised there was no weapons. I don't know why I heard that at one point. I forgot about it, and then I
Mm-hmm.
was watching it. I'm like, there are no weapons. What's the
Yep.
deal? And that was a shock to me. But then it was also like, oh, wait a minute. In the sealed or the pre-release standpoint, the cards do the good together. But when you zoom out now and you take like Tough Nut as an example, you can, when you're doing CC, you're not going to run no weapon. So it changes the
Right.
dynamic completely of how you evaluate some of these heroes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, I think, talking about pre-release in general, just because, I'm not sure if this is going to release before pre-release comes.
Oh, I'm gonna try to get this out real soon.
So,
That's my
so
hope.
notably then, pre-release, it's an interesting thing, and I've heard some mixed feelings about pre-release.
Okay.
The reason being is just because, again, with no weapon, unfortunately, that does mean that draws happen a lot, and not the draws
Really?
you'd normally imagine. It's literally just both players will deck themselves out, and then when they deck themselves out, they don't have
There's no
a
way
swing
to
a
finish the
weapon.
game. Yeah.
Right. And so because of that, a lot of people have had they've had I don't know, 10 life left in their, in total, but they had no deck left, and you essentially at that situation, if I recall, it's like you have to start some kind of like weird mini game, or like it's just considered a double loss if it's a draw in that scenario. The logistics of it are very weird. Now, notably, this only really matters truly deeply, if you are playing for a big amount of prizing. But I mean,
I just
at the end of the
just
day,
noticed
it's a fun
something.
thing, so yeah.
Because
What?
I saw this. See how it
Uh-huh.
says English, France, and or French and Japanese? Did they
Uh-huh.
drop Spanish or German?
Yeah, I think they did that a long time ago. They dropped both of those because there wasn't a
big enough demand for it?
it's not a big enough demand for it, and notably, like, it ends up being that most people want English products anyway. I'm not sure why they kept French.
Interesting.
Japanese makes sense, but English is like the preferred thing. So, and notably, I think that's the other thing, is that the reason, if I recall correctly, the reasoning for doing it is because when they initially started,
Well, but High Seas
with
was
History
in German
Pack.
too. That's why it looks like High Seas was in English, German, French, Italian, Japanese, and Spanish. So that's why I was curious.
Oh, okay. I mean,
just-
maybe.
I just happened to see
imagine
that
they had
on
plans.
February, and I was just like, "That's interesting." If they did drop those, not that it's a
Right.
bad thing, but I still want to sooner or later open some foreign product, just because it's interesting. I would love to get
Right.
my hands on some Japanese, sets,
Mhm.
just because even Japanese. I think I got some Japanese High Sea boosters somewhere, but like, the language is nice. I like to look at it, even though I don't quite understand any of it. But like,
Absolutely. Yeah. So the pre-release, from the pre-release standpoint, I think it's going to be very interesting. But overall, I think if there's anything we can talk about, because I don't want to get too deep into anything that would technically be considered competitive, because we don't need to get anything crazy there. But something I want to talk about is, now that you kind of see the cards for these heroes, do you have a favorite? Do you have like a favorite hero that you have out of this set? Is there somebody you're wanting to try and play in like Project Blue, or even at your locals, like at a very, budget level?
Here's the thing, and it took me until High Seas to really accept that this was how Flesh and Blood was going to be for a casual player or somebody that was not going to drive to the big tournaments. They're just going to be sets that I just have almost no care or interaction or useful heroes within, barring maybe certain generics, which we'll get to that maybe in a bit, and certain other, I would say, just interesting, like, hey, I like that hero ability, so I'm going to look at it. When I look at the heroes that are in here between Tough Nut, Pleiades, KO, and Lyeth, you have two new talents. So you have the Revered and the Reviled. I would say of these, the most interesting mechanically to me is Lyeth. So I want to play around with a little bit of Lyeth just to try that whole. I want to run 10 foot tall and bulletproof because that's just interesting. I want to find ways to make that card work, and I feel like Lyeth would have some way to make that better. But then again, there's other cards that, you know, I that's actually the opposite. You want small ones that you can somehow boost. I think so. It's probably not a good way to look at him, but they're still interesting heroes. I think they all serve something unique. But like for Project Blue, as an example, I would probably say I would more rather try like either a Tough Nut or maybe the KO Strong Arm, because I at least understand Brute to a basic degree. You know, like Mechanologist, my main class. Ninja is probably my close second. Brute would probably be within my third because, you know, KO and such was kind of another hero I played around with, or even, just I guess Brute in general. So I would say those would be the ones I would be drawn to. I am not a Guardian fan at all, really, and I don't like the whole Aura thing, which is not really why. I mean, that's why I was never really drawn to the Prism, you know, aspect or the whole, you know, illusionist class. Dromai was interesting. I mean, the dragons were cool, but like in this scenario, because there's not really, I don't know, it's a long-winded way to say that I'm not like, hoorah, I have to play this.
Yeah, it's okay to not like the heroes. That's totally fine. Like
the character I wanted to play is actually the cosplay reveal character more so than any of these. Frankie. I think that would have been such a cool character to wield. But you know, anyways, that's neither here nor there.
You just gotta go to Worlds and dress up.
I know.
That's all you gotta do.
I missed my official chance on a Taylor, I'm sure. So
yep. So Taylor's done for. Frankie is what's in now. I gotta say though, I think out of Super Slam, I was initially very excited to see how Tough Nut was going to play, because with 3 intellect, it's kind of just rough in general. And I notably wanted to get some Project Blue videos set up and ready for them, because they're the new heroes. People are going to know how to play them in Project Blue, and also check out some of the newer cards that we're getting in that format too. And I did the mistake, which is, instead of asking in the Project Blue Discord for an opponent, I just queued up a Tough Nut deck into Open Blitz in Kalashar.
Okay.
And I got paired up into a Lyeth, and I went, okay. So here's the issue with that is, either I'm paired up into a Lyeth that is like Blitz Lyeth, right, with legendaries and Majestics and the whole jazz, or I'm lucky and I'm playing against somebody else who's doing a Project Blue deck. Well, I was not lucky. Instead, I got to play against a Blitz Lyeth deck with the Majestics, all the powerful legendaries, everything, right?
Was it an open and shut case? It was really just a walk on top of you?
Dog, I beat them.
Really?
With my Project Blue Tough Nut deck. It was insane. I wish I had recorded the thing, because I was like, I don't like, and again, this is not to say that this is always going to be the case, okay? Odds are they got awful hands and didn't know how to fully convert those hands into things that worked. But I had 20 cards left in my deck. They had 3, and I had like 9 life at the end of the whole thing. And I was like, cool, I'm gonna continue trying to send Romping Club at you for 4. And he's like, yep, okay, I can't do it, I die. And I'm just like, oh, sick. Okay, cool. I guess that was a fun game. And it was so funny seeing it happen, and just me being like, this is really it. Like, Tough Nut's very, very cool. I do really wonder how they're gonna play into any hero that is a go wide hero, though, because they're probably gonna lose.
But that's the rock, paper, scissors, lizard, Spock thing. I mean, there's
exactly right.
There's going to just be a yin and a yang.
Yeah. But Lyeth does seem pretty cool. I mean, Lyeth seems pretty interesting. I like how he plays. It's very much so just, again, set up a bunch of auras and then, or even just like pump up a bunch of these things. Like, what is that one card that we'll see, I'm sure? Cut a long story short or something. I think if you just look up long story short, this card is insane.
If it has 13 or more attack, I was going to say, I didn't understand how you would pump this thing up that much unless it's might tokens.
Oh, dude, it's so easy. It's so easy. It's because Lyeth can make like 5 might tokens in a turn and also play 2 auras that give +4. So like, you could theoretically pump this up. Also, notably, fun fact, right? This is the kind of different thing. And this is kind of why I like how Lyeth initially is because you take a look at this card, you see the Guardian border. What do you normally think when you think of Guardian, Jacob?
Tall, big attacks. This is not a tall, big attack.
This is not a tall, big attack. But notably, this comes in for 3. It blocks for 3, and it costs 0. Right? Do you know what else works with 0 cost attacks? Snapdragon Scalers. You can Snapdragon Scale this thing. This is just Bonds of Agony, but for Guardian, and I think this is just.
So I don't want to derail the I would say hype of Super Slam, but I do have a thing in my head that is a slight concern, right? And that is, now that we've seen the whole set. I mean, we can talk about the Legendary if you want, or the Fable. We can talk about a couple different things, whatever you'd like to discuss. But the thing that concerns me is that there are so many cards in here, and I'm not. We can touch on reprints and stuff, but like there are so many Guardian specific or Brute specific cards that just to me seem like they push the level of like my old Dash or like my old. Like, even if you just look at Bravo or some of these other original heroes, I feel like they're just being outclassed or outpaced. And maybe that's just a personal opinion, but like Living Legend board wise, it just doesn't seem like, unless they give them some additional help, like some of these cards they're just so much better than what used to be the standard. Am I wrong on that? Or am I just looking at this through a jaded lens? Because
I mean, I think it's all relative. I mean, I think that the cards that come in Super Slam, notably, the reason they work so well with the Super Slam heroes is just because from a draft perspective and a limited perspective, they seem to work better with those. But if I'm going to be entirely honest, like Reinhardt got a lot of really good cards in this set. Heavy Hitters KO is going to be, and again, like I know this is anything but competitive, but we're in fact talking a slight bit about competitive here. Heavy Hitters KO is going to be the best deck in format in Classic Constructed, because it is
the punniest
so insane,
thing,
the stuff they got.
The punniest thing is, even somebody like myself that I would say is not actually competitive. I mean, I am competitive to play at the table or try to win.
Right.
But everyone's secretly competitive. You're going to want to do something and not lose every game for the entirety of the time you're playing this game, or you're never going to, I mean, you'll still have some fun, but like you got to at least have some wins every once in a while. And if you can't get there, it's like, So as the joke is, well, it is anything but competitive. I mean, the whole point of your playing this game is to not only have fun in person with people, but you're going to want to, be good enough to still do something and win, but you don't have to necessarily be the, here's the 0.001% why this card is over this card. And then if you don't run this card at the hyper competitive meta and you didn't draw this perfect God hand that you're going to, I'm like, I watched I'm going to derail myself here. There was a video that got sent to me, and I'll send it to you. It was a Magic the Gathering deck that literally the entire CEDH scene is on fire because it is called a zero interaction deck. Apparently, it is just you do nothing. It's like playing solitaire and you always win, because basically at this point, there's nothing. You build a board state up and you just like Gaia's Cradle, do a bunch of different things, animals, and then pop out your whole hand and just barf on them and they're dead. It's like they can't do anything. And
That sounds about right.
It's like, what? Again, I know this much of Magic now instead of this much. I used to know a lot more, but like when I heard this, I was like, that seems like very toxic and not fun to play. It's like,
Very true. Very
I will
true.
tell
Fun
you
fact,
that at least at the locals, I have had no toxic decks, even when I hated playing against Gravy Bones, and even when I did not enjoy playing against the very tall. Oh my God, we have a KO that is just. I need to get Jake on here to talk with you because he has high rolled Ben. I feel so bad for him. He has high rolled Ben 2 or 3 times with like, I roll a 1. Okay, I'm gonna break it, re-roll, I get a 6, and then like, I'm gonna scab skins or I'm gonna gambler's glove, and then all of a sudden he has 6 cards in hand with 6 action points and just effing just it's just like, what happened here?
I'm telling you, there's a whole thing. Brutes can get kind of insane. So back to what we were talking about here. The fact that Guardian also, it initially doesn't seem that Guardian got a lot of things, but I'm not gonna lie, with the amount of blues that Guardian normally runs, a lot of these instant speed auras look really good. Like the fact that any of the Guardians can utilize cards like Active Glory or Edge of Their Seats. They could play things like The Suspense is Killing Me or something of the sort. Like, if they want to try utilizing these cards, these Guardian instant auras, like, I think the funny thing is, and at least local to us, we have an individual by the name of Jacob, who is a big Aura Guardian fan. They have been trying to make auras work with Bravo for a long time.
Yeah.
And they've never been able to do it. Like, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but like really it just isn't fast enough to make that happen. And now with all of these new auras and the new tower card, like, it's pretty awesome just to be able to be like, cool, pay these resources, pitch into Bravo, give it dominate, absolutely destroy you. Like, that's pretty good. It's a pretty good place to be. And I mean, obviously there's a little bit more finagling with it when it comes to suspense counters. Only really Pleiades is worried about like what those suspense counters do. But at the end of the day, if the suspense counters leave the card, then the effect pops. So if you can get 2 auras out, I take a look at cards like Active Glory. Active Glory costs 4 for you to play it. It is a common. It comes in and it gives +4 for the blue, but it's +6 for the red.
Yeah.
And so if you have 2 blues in hand, and like, I don't know, I guess if you have 3 blues in hand and an Active Glory in arsenal and an Active Glory in hand, you could pitch 9, play to pitch to Tectonic Plating, play 2 Active Glories, pass on your turn. It's very simply just, okay, cool, I don't block, I pitch to Bravo, give my next attack dominate. I guess it's not the next turn, you're going to want to wait another turn to set up, but okay, you play that card and then it's like, okay, cool, I'm going to send, gosh, what the hell does Spinal Crush come in for? 9. So 9 plus 6 is 15, plus 6 more is 21. So you send 21 dominate at your opponent. Like, that's
if
something
if it's a blitz game, then you're dead.
Right, exactly. And so notably, that's the kind of thing that, like, these are things that are going to change, believe it or not, multiple different formats.
Oh, sure.
It really is just like kind of a powerhouse thing to do, because if you get one setup turn, you get a whole turn to then block and set up 1 card in your arsenal that's an attack action. And then you draw up and you go, okay, cool, I'm not going to block anything you send at me. You have to kill me this turn, otherwise I definitely kill you. And then what, right? Like, I don't know. It's going to be a very, very interesting thing, but I do think that they've added what this set was meant to do, at least from what I recall hearing, is that it's supposed to reinvent Guardian and Brute, right? The Brute cards that came in the set do not care about you discarding a 6. Instead, they want you to have a 6 in pitch as opposed to discarding it, which is so much better, notably. But same deal goes for Guardian. Guardian used to care about really powerful blues that blocked for 3, and you had to get these seismic surge tokens out to go ahead and get a reduction cost on your cards. Whereas here they said, here's a bunch of instant speed auras. You can set them up on your turn, get a little bit of an off turn to block out your opponent's damage, and then if they have not broken past your defenses on that turn, you get to send a big attack at them. So,
I mean, I'll say this:
interesting.
The set in general is a win because to me they went back to like heavy hitters. The arena, I like it. The artwork is freaking cool. I mean, I like stuff like this. I mean, just poking around, like there's a lot of interesting things in this set. Like I said, because of the fact that I don't really play too many of these heroes, I would, or I should say classes, I would say that the big thing I would want to know is if you look at a typical set, you have 5 to 6 legendaries, and of those, they are typically new. This is, I know Super Slam is kind of, it's like a weird amalgamation of like an old, like either Dynasty or Crucible of War or maybe even History Pack. And so it's like, because they're putting reprints in it. And that's, I mean, they put reprints in Bright Lights because they put a Tunic. But like this seems to be the most reprints. And in this case, Warmonger's Diplomacy, upshifting to a legendary, New Horizon, and then Flick Knives being here. Like those 3 cards, I haven't seen what the market's done. I'm assuming they've gone down, which is good. But these are different artworks. They're, I guess, apparently they come in cold foil and rainbow foil and regular or maybe.
They certainly should not be coming in cold foil. If anything comes in cold foil, it's going to be the Warmonger's Diplomacy. But if New Horizon and Flick Knives come into cold foil, it does break the cold foil reprint policy.
Why would that be? It's a new artwork.
No, so the rainbow foils can be reprinted with new artwork. Cold foils cannot. Cold foils are only able to be the only time a cold foil is ever printed is within the first set that the card is printed in, and that is the cold foil. They're not able to print a cold foil into the next one.
Okay, so then I would say I've seen at least a cold foil of this one.
Yes. See, this card, Warmonger's Diplomacy, did not get a cold foil in Dusk Till Dawn, so this is the cold foil. So,
but Flick Knives would just be. It looks like an extended. They must be an extended art according to this.
Yep, they did an extended art for them. So effectively, not a micro text box, but effectively that where the text is, it's just shadowed behind it, kind of like they would the normal extended art stuff. But yeah, so that's notably the reprint policy is that any card can be reprinted in non-foil anywhere. Even if it's got the same art, it can be reprinted in non-foil anywhere. If it's going to be printed in a rainbow foil, it has to be printed in a new art in a new set.
I'll be real honest with you. By putting New Horizon in here, more power to them that they did this. But anyone with Tales of Aria, whether it's unlimited, maybe first edition, there might still be some stuff because there's some alternate arts in there. At this point, that is literally just put it in the grinder. Like, unless you want to sit there and enjoy the old draft of doing that, I don't see how there's just nothing left in those sets that are just useful because they just reprinted Spellbound Creepers, recently with the convention stuff, so Monarch's kind of in the same, but we haven't seen Monarch ones, but it's just interesting to see these. Somebody was also theorizing that in the next set we should see if they're doing stuff like this that's fairly new, because Flick Knives is fairly new, Warmongers is fairly new. Maybe we'll see, a Shelter from the Storm or something like that might be a possibility. Which again, options is always nice. I'm not going to say no to options. It is weird they keep shifting it up to rare, and the reason that I'm willing to say that it's odd is I just I just saw a Flukenbox post. He was saying that he opened 200 boxes of this stuff, and he really didn't get a lot of like the Warmonger's Diplomacy. He said he only got 24 Flick Knives and 20 New Horizons. So basically, it seemed like the percentile he experienced were low when you think he opened 200 boxes. Like that to me seems like a lower distribution. I listening to or reading this, like Snag was short printed because Snag was also a reprint, which that's kind of needed one. I mean, that was back in Crew, right? I mean, that was the only other time that was out there. But yeah, it's interesting because if everybody wants these Warmongers Diplomacies for their decks, I mean, you're still going to want 3 of them, just like he'd said in here. And if you only got 13 of them, that doesn't vote well for like
I mean, you do also have to remember, and I think this is something thought about too, is that this set has more expansion slots than any other set has had.
That is true.
It has had more expansion slots than any other set has had, which means the cards are distributed differently. Where normally you would see a lot of people pulling things like, the CNC or what the hell is another expansion slot card that people got a lot of? I don't know. The CNC, that's all I can think of. But I mean, Escalate Bloodshed. Yeah, like all these cards that notably there's a much smaller pool, and so you tend to see some things duplicated. But in this situation, you have I think it's 10 more expansion slot cards than the other sets.
Well, and they got super rares in here. I don't know what they've done to and I'm not really going to complain about it. It's interesting to see the data that people are posting about it. So yeah. I know it's still early. It hasn't officially been released, right? There's the pre-release kits, which is also really sweet. I really hope our LGS gets those. Knocking on wood that he gets enough for us, and I hope I can get enough for us to be able to take one. And I want to go to a bar and sit down, and I want to play with my 3 or 4 guys, and I want to sit down and just have a drink while we're playing. That's the experience I want to have. I don't know if we're going to get enough. I'm hoping we do. I will reserve my still opinion until we get to hear that, but it just sounds like he may or may not get a bunch of them. I don't know, and that's kind of what concerns me. So I'm hoping he'll get them. That's my hope.
I mean, some people only get, I think, 16 pre-release kits, depending on the area, what the attendance is, yada yada. I know that we have. I mean, we have what? Hold on, let me see how many pre-releases that are happening within a general.
You have
area
a
here.
boatload, I'm sure, because that's been something you've discussed in the past that you have.
Yeah, we have a lot. Let's see here. What's our schedule look like?
Isn't it event locator?
So
Isn't that where it would be?
You can find it in there. What we do is anytime the
pen
information
thing in
is up. Yeah, effectively what happens is our mod for the Colorado Discord just posts it all in our event schedule, and it just shows up with each person's what do you call it, their slot effectively. So we have 2 on the 19th, so tomorrow. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 on Saturday. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on Saturday. And then there's 1, 2, 3 on Sunday. There's 1 on Monday, 1 on Tuesday, 1 on Thursday, and 1 on next week, Sunday. It got pushed back because there was another event that came through, but I guess LSS is okay having pre-releases on release weekend. So they're able to have that. But yeah, we have a lot. I don't know how many people are planning on attending them because, frankly, it is the thing that is the downfall of Super Slam right now is just the fact that the draft doesn't matter. Drafting this does not matter. Sealed doesn't matter because none of them are utilized in the World Championships. So a lot of people, I don't think we have anybody from here that's going to Worlds or has a PTI for Worlds, but they don't need to practice Sealed. They don't need to practice Draft. They don't need to practice any of that because it's Living Legend and CC and not CC and Draft. So there's probably a lot of people who are not going to purchase a lot of the product just because that's the case, and they don't have to do a lot of testing. But I do think that if you're going to be playing any of the new heroes, or if you're going to be playing, even using some of these cards in the older heroes, you're going to want to get your hands on some of these cards because they're pretty good.
And I would say I looked at what we have. We have, it looks like 17 miles, 4 miles. So we got 1, 2, 3 Apparently, Valkyrie's Vault actually does get one, so that's for the dugout. They used to carry it, now they're back. I'm kind of surprised, so that's intriguing because I didn't know they were starting back up. So that's
now.
cool.
Are you looking up the event locator or the store locator?
Event locator specifically
Okay.
for the pre-release. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think 6 within 50 miles, which
Nice.
is pretty good. I mean,
That's
would
pretty
say
good.
that is impressive, to say the least.
Yeah.
So, I would think that there's definitely some like variety pack that would need to be looked at, but with the individual, I don't know, with the. I'm going to also touch on gym. I want to kind of go to gym pack. Not that I don't want to shift too hard from that, but like I think that the gym pack also kind of to circle back on what they've put in the sets. I think that they're starting to put the new cards, especially seeing what they've loaded gym pack 3, or basically it might as well be called loot pack number 3 or micro transaction. Like, I don't know. It's disturbingly scary how ridiculous the amount of cards that are in here. Because looking at this, right, you got you got at least one highly sought after card, which is going to definitely be the Prism.
Yes.
I guess here, let me
Notably,
put this up.
if you pull that Prism, you do need you are required to sell it to me first, amongst all things.
If I pull that, I don't play the class, so like I don't
I
think
know.
really...
That's why I'm telling you. If you pull that thing, I need it. I need that thing. I cannot live without that thing.
But I would say, like, looking at this, you got cold foils, which they're, the math on this was a little bit odd too. Like, going back to the math behind this, they say that there's 36 cards, 1 Marvel, 6 cold foils, 28 rainbow foils, and 26 non-foil cards. So I'm guessing that the Savage Sash, which is another card people are going to want, the Rampart of the Ram's Head, I'm assuming that even the Rock and maybe Fast and Furious, Bravo, and I'm guessing these 6 here are or are they it says rainbow foil on them.
Yeah, they're all extended art rainbow foil. So those are the 6 extended art rainbow foils, along with the helms that came from the LL Armory or the LL Armory decks. Those are also an extended art rainbow foil.
Gotcha.
And then there's 20 other cards that got a treatment that are from Super Slam, which you can see if you scroll down. Actually, there's a card list right there.
Cool. They actually did release all the cards.
Yeah,
Excellent.
Yeah, so they did. So this
Look
shows
at
you kind of everything.
Jarl's in there too.
Yep. Yeah, a non-foil Jarl. What they did with this one notably, and you'll see as you go through this list, a lot of the cards that they reprinted in here are reprints from the other Armory decks, which is just kind of like really cool because it means you don't have to price yourself to getting a whole Armory deck. And also, especially with KO, the thing that made these Armory decks really intense and like obviously we've talked about, I think, on several occasions where like the KO Armory deck was going for like $100 on TCG Player or something because of this nonsense, and it was strictly because Savage Sash itself is like a $57-$58 card or whatever, and if the deck is only $40, those plus the run roughshods, it's a very expensive deck, and a lot of people eventually they hit that fun word we all like to throw around called arbitrage, in which if a lot of people buy the decks for $40 and then they rip open the decks and then they sell the packs, the amount of KO decks on the shelves get lower and lower, which means that their prices go higher and higher because demand is higher.
Correct.
And then it has to equal out the amount that the single cards are worth inside the box. And so in
it's
that
a balancing
scenario,
act.
Exactly. It ended up working out to where they said, and this is also kind of the funny thing, because when they initially announced Armory decks, they said that these were going to be decks with exclusive cards to the Armory deck and the Armory deck alone. And now they're reprinting a lot of them in the gem pack, which I think is awesome. Notably, I think that's fine, especially since they're giving a new art treatment. Like I saw you had up there a second ago. Did you see that Fast and Furious art? Like, are you actually kidding me? Like, Fast and Furious is the sickest art I've seen on a mech card ever.
I had questions. I have lots of questions. When am I getting my Cyber Ape? And what in the heck is happening here? Did Teklo Vossen like give this guy like an extra boost or something. Like, I don't know. Like, I got questions, and it looks cool. I love it.
It's crazy. It looks so good. I mean, obviously it's Iswardi, so like Iswardi just kills it all the time with their art. But like, it is so cool, and I was just like, dang, that immediately, I was just like, give me that hero. I'll play Mechanologist if that's the hero I get to play as, is this cool, cyber ape situation.
I mean, hands down, again, the artwork here is just phenomenal. Now, I will say that I don't want to make it sound like I'm a doom-saying person, but one of the things I'm discovering is anymore, unless you are actively pursuing cards from these gem packs or cold foils from certain sets, there's an active conversation about whether or not, as an example, somebody would want to get a cold foil Mask of Momentum versus waiting to see if maybe they do one of the you got your kit I sent you, right, from
Yes.
Gen Con? Yeah. So like, let's say they do a promo version of Mask of Momentum. Well, what would that do, as an example, if with the price of the cold foil? I mean, there are some people that would care about the original cold foil for sure, but there's also a huge quantity of people that would just only want maybe the new artwork or the one that comes specifically with the the new style of artwork, if that's an example. And that's kind of what concerns me about keeping value of these long-term, I would say, non-foil cards in my set that I have built. Like if I look at WTR, I have a master set of WTR. Foils, non-foils, every variation of card. Same with Arc, Crucible. I kind of gave up
Unlimited,
around...
right?
Yeah,
Unlimited.
of Unlimited, not first.
Right.
But looking past all that, when you get these cool new treatments as a player, I want that Savage Sash. I want, I don't want the other one. I don't mind having that Ram part of the Ram's head. It's extended art. I want these extended art cards. If I could, my whole deck could be extended art everything or extended see-through art. I'm going to want that.
Right.
I'm going to not care about the original card at all. So then the question comes into, what about all the prior printings of everything? What happens to them? People are still going to kind of want them. And I get if maybe they go in and out of the meta, maybe they might, spike or do something. But like, come on, if I'm going to play a game and there's good artwork, I want the power play that's right here that has the artwork front and center. Like,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think there's obviously, I think the big thing about reprints, and especially the reprints having to be in new art in those situations, and things getting those micro text box treatments, they are a way for you to personalize your deck. This is a big thing that all TCGs do, in which if you like, like if we take Magic, for instance, if you like the showcase version of a card, or if you like the super sparkly, crazy, serialized version of a card, you can run whichever one you want, right? But when we talk about the terms of what is rare and what is not, it comes down to how many do we know are printed? Because if they reprint a Marvel, crazy, Japanese water painting style Mask of Momentum in full art with like the whole thing, like big Marvel, just like how they did with Phantasmal Footsteps and everything there. If they do that, does that mean that it is rarer than the Alpha WTR Mask of Momentum? And I don't honestly know, because we wouldn't know how many are printed, how they're distributed, how all that information, like we would not know any of that. And if we did know, then we'd have a little bit more understanding of like, okay, cool, this is the rarer version, because we know WTR Alpha was low print, right? So not a whole lot of legendaries were printed in there. I think it was like, I don't know, like maybe 100, or not 100, maybe like, I don't know, 600-700 or something legendaries. Those are all made up numbers, but like it's low. It's a low number to the point where you're very much so like, okay, cool, you need to make sure that that is what is considered a rare card, as opposed to
I used to be able to rattle them off my
card.
head. There was a bunch of spreadsheets at one point somebody was sharing around, and I know they're out there, but yeah, they are sub. They're not. There's not a lot.
Right. There's not a lot of them.
I did want to maybe go, and I know we talked maybe about picking a card or two that you really like, but I wanted to talk about some of the generics real quick.
Sure.
Again, artwork wise, this is pretty freaking cool. And the
Yep.
fact that these are generics means that for the most part, again, there are some super rare generics, which is again kind of
Mm-hmm.
interesting that they've done that. I didn't see a lot of flavor text in this set, which is still something I'm kind of hoping for at some point in the future. But it is what it is. I mean, hopefully that'll be a thing. But for some reason, I was really drawn to this card, and I don't know if they kind of always say there's a card that kind of predicates the next set theoretically in each set
Uh-huh.
before it. I feel like there's something interesting with this card. There's just whoever this hero is here, and whatever the heck is happening in this, like it almost looks like a monastery or something in the background. Like I don't know, but like I really was drawn to this artwork specifically. Um, Plus, the ability is kind of cool because it's generic. It gives cheers and boos to other reviled heroes and
Mm-hmm.
revered heroes. But the problem is that I can't just slap this into you know a deck that doesn't have like there's only these reviled and revered heroes now, but later there might be more. I'm still waiting on the day that you get a piece of equipment that says, I know Crown of Dominion does this. Your hero is also royal in addition to its, text or whatever.
Right.
I really hope that they start bolting on some of these talents, like you are also ice, but then you get but the problem is the deck building requirements, and if that card goes away, you
Yeah.
can't. You
I
know,
think I think it's too hard specifically. I think it's why they're not making like a royal specific, talent to dive into, because you notably your deck has to consist of cards that are legal before you flip your equipment. And
Yep.
so it's hard pressed to make that happen, which is why essentially they just do like essence of royalty, or they just make the hero royal so that way they can utilize it as opposed to like making them that.
Also, as a Jurassic Park fan, this card here pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah, it's so
um,
cool.
But when I looked at it, I was like, "Oh, this is really cool." And it took me a while to realize. Do you see the size of the humans that are down here? This thing is huge.
Yeah, it's a big thing.
And
It's
also
a big,
because
big baby.
if this attack gets -1 unless you pay a resource, so really it's a 2 for 6, or a 1 for 5. Like this seems good for a lot of heroes, and
Yeah.
it has flavor text on it. I'm excited about
It does have flavor text on it. That's I think that was actually a lot of the stuff that I was noticing is a lot of these. I actually think I saw it posted somewhere on the legendary stories, but there is like a lore thing that came out. I'm not sure if it's fan fiction or not, but like it's about these fight masters in the set. That
I remember
they all talk
somebody
about, like,
reading something. I think I heard like a vocal version or something of that. I thought.
yeah.
What's your thought on this, by the way? I've been hearing the discourse when I read through the discords of people saying, "Oh my God, another playable Fabled." Like, I don't know how. I mean, again, from a casual standpoint, it's cool, but like, what is? I could basically build a deck with a bunch of these gems now, and yes, the deck would be very expensive. But like, do I actually need it? I don't know. Like, what's your thought on this?
So notably in this scenario, what this does, it being a generic, obviously super good because it means anybody can run it. The other thing is it's blue, so it pitches for the most a card can pitch for. Of course, just like every other gem, it does not block. But its ability to say when this is pitched, defense reaction cards cost opponents an additional resource to play this turn. I don't know if you've ever played against an assassin, Jacob. But if I could play a card that is essentially Icelander's ability, but
Frostbite?
on all defense reactions,
Yep.
like it's pretty good. It means you have to give a card to play something like Sink Below. You have to give a card to play something like Fate Foreseen. You have to give a card to play Shelter from the Storm if you are going to do that. Now, notably, if you have Tunic Trigger up, it doesn't really matter. None of that matters. But in this scenario, you have the ability to tell when you are the assassin and you want to make sure you hit your opponent. And your opponent runs a bunch of D-reacts into you because they do not want to be hit by your really, really oppressive on-hits. You can play a whole card in your deck that pitches for the most it could, and you're going to need blues because you're playing an assassin and the daggers cost 2. So you could pitch this to attack with the dagger, and all they need to do, it's like, cool, okay, there's no interaction to it. It's not like, oh, cool, in response to like the trigger of the effect of you pitching it, I get to play out 18 D reacts and like set myself up. It's like immediately you're attacking with a dagger. For the rest of this turn, your D reacts cost 1 more. So when I come in for, a small attack that has an on hit, and you go, oh, okay, well, like I could have, leave no witnesses, right? You can't just block with leave no witnesses. You can't block this with a sink below anymore if you have no cards in hand. You can't.
No, I know, I get that. Now, here's another question. I saw this, and again, going back to the Flukenbox conversation, he said that he only got 2 Fables, 0 RFs. They only say in the February piece, it's a cold foil, which is what they did in High Seas. If they're removing the rainbow foil versions of these and the drop rate, let's say, is not the same, if not better or whatever, and this is that useful in a majority of classes, what the heck is going to happen to this? Like, is this going to be one of those cards that's going to be stupid expensive?
There is notably a rainbow foil of this card.
There is. Okay, cool.
Yes, yeah.
That's good.
According to the Flesh and Blood card database, which is considered not obviously not that February doesn't do an amazing job, but that is where I go for my source of truth now when they come out with new cards for things.
Okay.
And when I select Super Slam,
we're going to Super Slam. We're clicking there.
Yep.
This is the source of truth. CF and RF. Okay, perfect. Yeah. That's good to know. Excellent.
Yep.
So there is a rainbow foil. Yeah. He was just unlucky enough to not get one.
Yeah, which is insane to think it's unlucky to get a rainbow foil. Like, to get cold foils is crazy. That's so awesome. But, and I mean, notably, I think really the issue is that, again, this is a playable Fable. While that seems really, really like, okay, it's very specific, it's not going to be anything that is like every hero is going to run it. But the heroes that do get to run it, that get like a huge amount of value off of it, are going to need to spend a couple $100 on the card.
We thought about politely asking at our armory level that it's limit 1 Fabled per deck, like just as a courtesy, not like as a requirement, but just to keep the high roll kind of stuff out there. The problem becomes, though, there are certain decks that really seem to want to run multiple Fableds.
Absolutely. Prism, for instance. I mean, I as a Prism player, I want to play both Light of Soul and Library, because Light of Soul allows me to guarantee a card into Soul and activate my Prism ability, and Library allows me to get 5 cards in my hand when I'm trying to get over my opponent's defenses and try to set up a board. It's really important in that scenario, but of course, those are light illusion, like those are light Fableds. They are only for the light talent, and so they cannot. Yeah, yep, just rainbow foil. There's no cold foil riches. But so that's what I mean is like the ones for Prism get kind of a pass because they're only available in Prism, and so it's like if you're playing Prism, you can play these. But Authority of Ataya and even Riches of Trobaldani, those cards are so specific to the to certain play styles, right? It's no longer Fables that are specific towards a class or a talent to be able to kind of be like, cool, you got this really powerful gem piece that you get to put into your deck, and it might give you a benefit on a turn that you need it, right? But instead, you get to go, yeah, cool. Not only do I want to continuously have a good pitch card at a resource that I like, but also that pitch card gets me a whole ton of value. So if you pitch this Authority of Ataya to do anything else, it's like, cool, I pitched a blue like I normally would. The only benefit here is that now D-Reacts cost 1 more. So if you're trying to kill your opponent and your opponent doesn't have those resources to block out those attacks, and maybe they've been saving their D-Reacts for that last turn, this is hard to get around. But again, it's much like Riches of Trobaldani. Not every hero is running it, but every hero can run it. And notably, with how Flesh and Blood grows as a game, things change pretty rapidly. And if at any point somebody gets a top 8 or they win a World Championship or a Pro Tour or a Nationals with this card in their deck, the card spikes. and everybody who wants the card also has to pay the spike price. Nobody's able to buy it at a regular rate. It's just going to be expensive.
I want to go back to the other thing you talked about earlier, the prices of pre-releases. I just looked at some of these. I see 145, 150. Why are I mean, I get they got to make money, but like it seems. So you said so. I've seen people say it's like as high as $70, $75. Like, what is the deal? Like, why is that happening?
I have no idea, frankly. I am very lucky in that. Let me check out to see what we're looking at for our things here. Let's see. Pre-release.
I mean, $45 is still a little high, but I mean, it's not bad. I mean, I just know that if I want to buy more than one of these kits, I kind of thought if you're only getting 6 packs, that's like $30 for the kit, which is the $5 a pack. So I don't understand why the pricing or prices are that level, I guess.
Right. Well, I mean, notably, you're looking at there's a kit to sell now, and it's not just like a per pack situation, right?
Notably, I just realized, by the way, sorry to interrupt, there is a store that we used to go to that was the de facto pre-release kind of thing that they're not on this list. So I don't know if they're skipping it or if they're done or if they've moved on. That's interesting. That is unique. Okay.
Yeah. We have a lot of the places we have doing pre-releases out here are $40 entry. So $40 is about where we're sitting. And notably, right, if you want to consider it per pack, right now packs are going about $5 a piece. So this is $5 a piece at 8 packs. That's what, $45, right? Does that math out?
Yeah, sounds about right.
So $45, and you're sitting at that amount. It's going to be, I guess it wouldn't be 45. The hell's the math on that? 14. Okay, no, it's 40. It's $40. Hold on. There's no way I can't just do basic goddamn math right now. 5 times 8 is 40. The hell am I talking about? So it's $40. So that equates, right? You're paying for 8 packs plus the promo kit, plus the promo like stuff that you get with the kit for entry, right? And that's pretty fair, I'd like to think. It is. We used to have them where like they were like 35, but I think it's you have to pay for packaging for the thing. I'm sure buying the, I'm sure getting the kits,
to be honest with you. That 35 seems pretty cheap.
Yeah, but that's. I mean, we're doing. I don't think there's a single one out here that isn't doing them for 40. I think we maybe had one that was doing them for 50. Let me see here. $42. The very specific.
I think those seem reasonable if you're getting 8 packs, and I think.
Yeah.
It's the ones that I was seeing that they were saying it was like 60s and 70s. It's like, well, that's like damn near buying a box. Like at that point, I'll just wait till the damn set comes out and spend 10, 20 more dollars, $30 more and just buy a box. Like that's.
Exactly. I mean, and that's really what it is, though, right? Like, and that's something that I always suggest is that if you're going to be opening up packs at all, you get more bang for your buck by buying the box. Because if you spend $110 on a box and you divide that 100, well, and we're going to do more math. Let's see, 110 divided by $5 a pack. That would net you. Sorry, hold on. That's not the math here. 110 divided by 24 packs in a box, $4.50. Yep. So about $4.50 per pack. Whereas if you bought them individually, it'd be $5 a pack. So saving a little bit of money by doing that. And you get a whole box. And notably, this is why it was so much better for like high seas specifically, because high seas, you got a gold pack in there too if you bought a box.
Treasure pack.
So it was like huge amount. Like you'd still get the same value you'd be getting, but you also get a treasure pack. Whereas if you just bought 24 packs individually, you didn't get the treasure pack. So yeah, it's wild.
Well, I don't want to belittle that, the pricing is all over the place. But I mean, just if you're gonna go to a pre-release, enjoy it, have fun, go to your friends.
Yeah.
You know, I want to see people buy the individual boxes. I want to buy one just for the celebratory component of having that pre-release kit, and I want to keep one sealed. Which is again, it's a weird thing. Sealed collectors probably do this, but like this is the first, right? This is the first of these products. That's why I have a KO still sealed. It's not back there right now, but like
Right.
the KO was the first armory deck, and I feel like that is just it's a hell, even Smash Palace. I would like to get to a point where we're gonna the group that I'm working with, I'd like to try to get to sit down. I think one guy in our local is trying to get a UPF game going, so there's just there's a lot of things that we can do, and everybody enjoys the game in different capacities. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of interesting cards. So don't let my little interesting rant there about like some of the, I don't like the heroes and the different things in this class because or this set, because it's not my thing. I'm a mechanologist person, but this is where if I wanted to experience this, and I will with the pre-release, I'm going to get to play with these, and I might like a play style. I might even like Guardian. But it is a different mindset to have like one thing you're doing a turn versus my mech where I'm like, I'm going to do this and then 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 I'm going to do this. And it's like, I don't know. There's probably a name for that in Magic, like whatever that is, like a combo player or something. Like I feel like there's a lot of tokens and actions and stuff. So
yeah, a lot of moving parts. I mean, notably, Guardian, I think that's also something that's important towards, like, again, the recreation or the restructuring of Guardian works, is that Guardian used to be that, okay, we just go tall. We send one big crush attack at our opponent, and if we have a pummel lined up, awesome. Like, and that's been Guardian for years. And now, instead of that being the case, your opponent could just go, okay, cool. I've got 2 floating resources, and they're going to go, oh my gosh, that's a pummel. Yeah, they're going to pummel me with this attack. There's no way they're not going to pummel me. And then it's like, okay, cool. Pass. You take this damage, play this aura with my 2 floating, pass over to you. Like, well, it's very illusionist. Pleiades is very illusionist. I like her a lot. So
the whole, I still wish we'd get a generic weapon, because I still think it's interesting to think about. I'm going to sit across from a player, and if you know the game well enough, you know basically what weapon they're running. It would still be neat to have alternate weapons. Brute has several to choose from, right? Mech has a couple to choose from. So there are some classes that have this variety, but there is typically one that is the best for that. But it would just be really interesting to, I like Edge of Autumn, Katsu, is an example of people trying to use that. So it'd be kind of cool to see what people can work out. But maybe one of these days we will get a generic weapon or something. But either way,
we do have a generic weapon.
I know.
Just play Talishar.
Rust
tokens.
Anything we didn't chat about that you want to touch on? I know that there's a lot. There's too much.
Did you see the art? Did you see the art for Disembody and or Dismember? No, is it Dismember? Hold on, I'm pulling it up. I'm so sad these cards aren't getting like an extended art or whatever the hell. Disarm, Disembody, and Disperse in Super Slam. Those are my cards I want to shout out.
Is this the multi panel? Looks like they can cut the artwork out and they go together. Yeah.
Yeah.
This was really
What in the
cool.
hell? What in the hell? Yeah, Thomas Rasuge, if you ever are watching this, congratulations. You've made legitimate masterpieces within the game of Flesh and Blood. You did not need to go this hard for this set. This is crazy.
Is really, really good. And there was another conversation. Actually, I think it's the Fabled. There was a artwork piece. I don't know if it's on Facebook or where I saw this, but they showed this way they went through and drew the initial sketch, and then they kind of drew things around it, and it was really beautiful to see the extended version of that, like a playmat. So I wonder if this Disarm, Disbody, and Disperse have a bigger set of artwork tied with it too.
I sure hope it does, because it's the only downfall is that it's set up in a weird way, because I don't know. So you remember the whole issue with line sinker hook?
I know, where they didn't actually line up.
I'm wondering whether or not this is the same situation, because there's a pillar at the right end of Disembody, and then there's a pillar at the left end of Disperse, and I'm wondering whether or not it's supposed to go from disperse to disarm to disembody, and like blue, yellow, red in that order,
Well,
and that's like the art.
The good news is these are only rare, so I don't mind, cutting the artwork out and trying to piece it together and finding a way to do that.
Oh no, that's crazy. I would rather just wait for the thing. You don't need to cut them all out. I don't think you could cut them all out to make them look good with the borders.
Oh, that's true.
You'd have to wait for the playmat to come out. Thomas,
Ooh.
that's what I
Playmat.
need, bud. I might make a commission. That's crazy.
Why don't you just email them? I'm sure they do stuff like that.
I'm probably gonna. You know, I'm be curious actually right now. I'm wondering.
I mean, Thomas has done quite a bit of piece of artwork. Looking at Fabry, he has,
he's got a
1,
lot.
2, 3, 6, 12, 18,
Tom
24.
Arts.
He has some really cool ones. I mean, hell, he did Hunter's Clave and On the Horizon, which is a really cool card. He's done a lot of boots. I mean, he has Necromancer legs. He has Flutter Steps.
Yeah, he did all the armor for the Gravy Bones deck.
That's wild. Gravy Bones hat.
Hunter's Clave and everything. Calming Breeze.
Calming Breeze is another good one, yeah. And they have an EA of that. So I wonder if is the EA also by this? It'd be the same artist, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's the same artist. Yeah.
That's neat. That's cool.
That's neat.
Well, sir, I appreciate the conversation.
Absolutely. Always having a blast. Hopefully you have some fun during your Super Slam pre-release and get to check out some new stuff. Are you going to get the Pleiades deck?
If I can manage to get one super quickly, I would love to do a review and play with it. I am aware of a couple of people that got them, I think, fairly early, and they are working on doing reviews and or talking about them. But it looks interesting. I've seen the contents just because I've been keeping an eye out, and obviously it's released on the marketing or the Fab card database, so the stuff's out there. It's not like it's hidden. But it definitely would be something I want to give a trial, right? I mean, my idea is to play with every hero at least once, see if it's remotely something that I enjoy, and then kind of go from there. So, yeah.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Well, I would say the sign off for me today is going to be thanks for tuning in. Thanks, Alex, for coming back. Especially, I know we've been kind of off and on a little bit, and with my little health thing for the middle of August, where I feel like I took an entire month and just went to the trash can. I'm glad that I didn't have to have any of my bodily organs removed, and I am back on the mend. So hopefully, at this point, it's going to be more stuff. And I know you said you you're looking to increase your output possibly. So look for more stuff coming from Alex. And it's exciting times. I really want to know, we don't have a roadmap. I think my takeaway from this is I'm still curious. I think it's going to be a Worlds maybe is where that's going to happen. And I'm looking forward to seeing what's coming. So.
And I'll be there. I'll be there at Worlds. If anybody who's watching this wants to hang out, at least with myself at Worlds, I will be there. And I will be drunk, probably. Maybe not. But
I really wish I could make
later.
Worlds. But I think we are trying to save to go to Disneyland because that was what we want to try and do. And I think at this point, I'm saving everything I can to do that over the next probably 6 months to make sure we have enough to do all I want to go see NASA and some other stuff. So as much as I really want to go for the world premiere, I feel like the priority is let the wife be happy, or yeah.
Turns out that is in fact what keeps a home running, is keeping the wife happy. I know for sure. So
well, thanks. Until next time, may your games be fun, your friendships grow. Cheers. I'll see you next time.
Bye. Everybody.